Separateness is an illusion, and you become what you believe, and you're prone to believing things. So why not believe that you're happy? Why not believe and then make that your reality? And be always, remember your innocent childlike nature. You have been hardened by life, but you're still a child within. And keep that child alive and be curious and keep learning, and don't be afraid to be a fool. In fact, be okay to be a fool and keep on learning. And that's it. Don't take it seriously. That's what I would say. I appear with this traditional look, I appear very serious, but fun, goofiness, not intellectual interactions, but the things that you can do with your friends that you can't even tell anybody, because the kind of jokes you make or just something very, very, very absurd, no meaning, no sense, but you laugh your ass off. So if you can live like that and be goofy and be just, life will pass. And just don't take it too seriously, man. All these sounds, all this consciousness and awareness and oneness and all that, don't take it like to your head and, oh my God, I have to become somebody. Just chill, enjoy. Just don't forget to enjoy this life. Don't forget that you're human, as he said. Don't forget that you're human, and just keep on playing the human game with as much grit and perseverance and all that you can.
Welcome, modern day mystics, fellow truth seekers, James and Justin back again. And today we have another special guest with us. We have Hitesh Bhatt from his Echoes of Existence YouTube channel, which focuses on spiritual practices, helping people to connect with oneness.
Spiritual practices to help us connect with oneness. Sounds like it could be pretty practical, some of the information, if we ask the right questions. But I'm eager to see what to talk to this person.
All right, well, we won't keep you guys waiting. Let's get into it. Hitesh, thank you so much for being on the show with us today. Maybe to kick things off, you can just explain for our audience, let them know who you are, what you got going on, what your channel there is all about, and we'll get started.
Thank you, James and Justin, for considering me a guest for your channel. I saw some of your work and I really enjoyed it, especially the interview with the Let's Talk Religion guy.
Oh, Philip
because
Holm.
I've been following, what's his name?
Philip Holm.
Yeah, I've been following his channel for a while, and I was very glad to see him there. Okay, a bit about me and what's going on in this channel. It sounds cliche and presumptuous to say, but I've been a seeker of truth, most of the times unknowingly, sometimes knowingly in my life. And there comes a time in your life when you begin to trust yourself and believe yourself, and you say, yes, I've got a voice, I have got perspectives, and I'm open to seek new ones, and I want to share them with others. So most of my professional career has been as a yoga teacher, but then on YouTube, I changed my approach almost a year ago when I started talking about things and not just showing the body movements. And that's when the YouTube channel also kicked off, because I had like 180 yoga videos on my channel, and I did every single session with as much enthusiasm and clarity as I'm speaking with you right now, but it didn't have to be clicked. My voice needed to be there, and now it's a fun ride to see how many people from how many parts of the globe are willing to listen, and we have those brothers and sisters in the world somewhere out there sitting, and it's very nice to connect. I especially love the comment section as well. So yeah, it's a beautiful journey right now.
Beautiful. Wow. Yeah. So where did the yoga practice start? Like, did this journey begin at a very young age? And like, was yoga the first thing that you were introduced to, or because I know the channel started with yoga when you first started.
Well, so the most of I wouldn't say how many, but many of Western people, their idea of yoga is physical movement. But yoga is something deeper than that. Yoga is a sort of union where the individual ego merges with the infinite ego, let's say. And then you lose the sense of I. And there are many practices for that. All the mantras, all the ceremonies, and all the intellectual inquiries, they all form part of yoga. But the part of yoga that got popular is the body movement. So if we skip the body movement for a while, then I could say that, yes, I was introduced to yoga from early childhood because my family is pretty spiritual and religious, a Hindu religious family from the mountains. And from a young age, I learned a lot of Sanskrit mantras and a lot of scriptures, and I could recite them. I had memorized them. That happened, but somewhere in my teens, I also started to get into physical movements. And I think around 17, 18 years of age, when I got really serious into it. I'll tell you an incident. So once I was on my yoga mat, and I thought my mind is going all over. I just want to calm myself down. I just go and do some movements that I know. It's like the moment I step on my mat, the noise becomes louder. All the things that were bothering me were like manifolded, because now I'm trying to concentrate on my body movement and breath so I can actually hear the noise coming from my mind and hear the overlapping thoughts and all that. And I realized that, man, I cannot sit with myself. I cannot just be with myself just as I am on my mat, because all these thoughts, what do I do with them? And I learned over time that no matter what practices I do, meditation, yoga, anything else, I need to deal with each and every single thought and make sure that I'm not bothered by these thoughts. Find a way through knowledge, through meditation, through divine grace, whatever it is, find a way to not have a conflicted mind. Because if I'm living with a conflicted mind all the time, then no matter what I'm doing, I'm trying to just, put a balm on my wound. I'm not really healing it. Yeah,
That is so significant, because maybe I misunderstood when you were speaking there, but I get the vibe that your upbringing was that of a somewhat like a pretty religious upbringing.
yes.
I'm trying to compare it to like a Western upbringing. Like for us, we're like, I got every excuse there is, man. I'm drowning in technology and pop culture and pop music and iPhones and stuff like that. And I'm wondering, would you say that you had a sort of typically Western upbringing at all? Or was it distinct by being sort of already removed from, I'm calling it Western, like pop inundation? Was it distinct from that? Did you have a quiet kind of upbringing? Because I'll let you answer.
Yeah, that's a good question. I've also lived in the West for about 7 years, and I kind of can compare, and maybe I can understand your question better. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, sorry. It was a little bit difficultly stated. Sorry.
I would say that perhaps the polar opposite of a Western lifestyle, the one that I had.
But that's super significant, because you came to this realization that people are starting to come around to, which is you went to the yoga mat and you realized the chaos of your mind, which seems to indicate that no matter what environment you're growing in, the mind is inherently chaotic.
Exactly.
That's like proof, man.
I wouldn't say, I would just say it's not inherently chaotic. It is I'm making a big statement here. It is the thousands and thousands and thousands of years of bad habit that has been cultivated. And you and I are not the first human beings. Our fathers, their mothers, we have lived with the idea of all the time duality. We have lived with the idea that I and the world are two different things. That's what we have been taught in science, in philosophy, in physics, in popular culture. There are always exceptions. So when this mind and in this body was born, it already got the notion that there is separation. And then the conditioning begins from very early age, and you're just like anybody else. And then you need to decondition yourself. So
no matter where you are, no matter where you grow up.
Yeah. Exactly. So yes, when the mind is quiet and peaceful and in its original state, I would say, the mind is not, because then there is no mind to be there, and we can go there later.
Yeah.
But also you are right. When the mind is chaotic, it is very similar to a mind anywhere in this world. It is very similar, because in a way it's simple, complex yet simple, that it just sees black and white, it sees up and down, it sees back and forth, it sees good and bad. It doesn't say that the opposite of good is ungood, which should be a better word to say. It said it's bad, and we just don't question it. How can the opposite of good be bad? It could be anything else, but ungood would be a better way to put it.
Right.
So our mind is a conditioned mind, and that's why it feels inherently chaotic. It's like when we look at the sun, and we also speak like that. We say the sun rises in the east, and the sun made the journey and sets in the west. None of this is happening, objectively speaking. The earth is rotating. In the same way, we say that the mind is inherently chaotic, but it's not. It's just how we perceive it now.
Yeah, we get lost in distinctions, like you said. If you let's do a simple distinction is good from bad, but you can get hypnotically lost in notions of good and hypnotically lost in notions of bad, and it's not very holistic. Like, there's something to me, I've been fixating on this idea of I'll just say it like this. I'll give a kind of teaser to it, and then we can either follow it or leave it behind. But I'll go try to see things other than what they are. Like, go to a graveyard and walk among the gravestones, but don't see them as gravestones. See them as something else. Start to lose your grip on notions as solid things that are solid, unshakable vectors in your mind. See them differently, because you may end up, if you practice this enough, letting go of things or having a dynamism, like a dynamic approach to life, where all of a sudden, like, something that might sink you otherwise is just like turns into an opportunity, turns into more creativity, all kinds of things. I don't want to frighten people with how far you could take this.
Yeah.
But I'm saying this could be the key to, like, dare I say, God consciousness, because this is God's realm, and he allows all kinds of crazy things that we point at and say that's bad and that's good. Well, it's his painting. What if you could become the painting instead of sitting there some objective armchair judger?
What if you are the painting?
What if you are the painting? You know what I mean? And this is an artwork.
The interesting thing is that right before having this call, I was sitting with next house is my family, my parents and my brother, and the whole family is there. And this is like, I don't really have a permanent place where I live. So this is where I'm living for now. And we were just drinking our evening chai, the national drink, Indian chai. And we were just drinking it in the evening, and we began talking about the things that we're talking now. And we went like really long and deep for like 45 minutes. And I told them, thank you, you warmed me up. Now I'm going to have my call. So we were actually talking about this, what you just mentioned. That's how I got reminded of that. We bring an image, an idea of things always between us and the object that we are perceiving. So if you're looking at something, we're not looking at it. We are looking at it through the images that we have built around it, through the experiences that we have about it, through the knowledge we have gained about it. And so when the thing is not being looked at as a thing in itself, but as an idea, then a direct relationship is not happening. And when a direct relationship happens, the thing itself disappears. As you said, it's not a thing. I mean, we can, again, go deeper into that as well. I mean, where are things? There are continuously events and processes happening, consistent movement happening, although
like
from
clouds.
human perspective, and from human perspective, some movements are ultra slow, we don't perceive them. Some are too fast, we don't perceive them, but they are movement in time and space nonetheless. So then where do you begin a thing? Where do you end a thing? And then aren't you just calling for your own convenience, for your practical living, that this is a thing, this is the thing? So yes, as you said, as you explore your boundaries, the boundaries keep blurring, and you don't know where you end and where the world begins.
Why do people
all of a sudden enlightenment's in the room with everyone?
why do you think it is that we need to create these ideas for all this stuff? Like, why are we doing that? Why aren't we seeing, like, why aren't we bypassing that process of constantly needing to identify everything and going straight to what you're talking about? Why do we create these concepts, beliefs, and ideas about absolutely everything?
It's a good question.
This world as we know it will not exist if all of us just saw through the illusion.
Yeah.
We'll just merge back into the infinite potentiality. That's where we'll be. Nobody's strict. Nobody's trapped. Everybody's free. That's it. We just zoop.
Just clear, the ultimate reunion, the ultimate completion feeling. But obviously, God ain't done with distinctions, because here we are doing it.
In our scriptures, we say this is the play of God. Yeah, there's a word for it. Sanskrit word is lila. So this is the lila. This God is playing. God is actually genderless, but popular culture is used to making it masculine. So I might sometimes say he or she or it. But the God is playing, and he just wants to go on playing. That's all he or she or it wants to do, go on playing. And yes, it gives us this subtle hints of seeing through, and always like having this flicker of oneness, a glimmer of it. And then you get sucked back into how the world is in the names and forms and properties and characteristics, and we go on creating more and more and more. So this is well, when we say it's a play, it's to put it in a way that we can deal with it. Otherwise, it gets heavy. On the other side of it, knowledge can either make us light and bright and happy and joyful and cheerful, or it can just dull us. It can just make us so heavy. We are bogged down by the weight of all the knowledge that we've gained, because the more we have learned, the more we have realized we don't really know anything.
Yeah.
And then so we become like Socrates, going everywhere, telling everybody that, hey, the only thing I know is that I know nothing.
Right. Ruining everybody's Monopoly game. It's just a game.
Yeah.
And it feels, maybe, there's no floating versus if it's not distinguished by the heavy feeling. Like somebody close to me recently was saying they felt inexplicably sad. They were going, I'm sad. And I go, well, what if I could make it so you never ever felt sad ever again? I took that ability from you. Would you want to never feel sad again? And they go, no. And I go, well, then enjoy your sadness. And they go, well, then I'm not sad anymore. I go, well, then be sad as hard as you can. Like, there's something to the distinction, and that's kind of like the joke of it. The paradoxical joke of it is sometimes I like going all the way out to the most radical, open-minded discussion where anything's anything, and then bringing it right back down to some hyper practical thing, which I have a question for you in a sec that'll ground us back in reality here. And that is this: as a yoga practitioner, like, would you regard yourself as like, what you're talking about, and you're the role, you're learned in yoga? Is that correct?
I've always felt like an imposter, so that imposter syndrome doesn't go. But
can we ask you a yoga question anyway, and
yes,
try to conjure some authority in it, which I believe you have. I would say, what could you tell people that are yoga enthusiasts, maybe people that started out, that are into your channel, regarding yoga? What could you say about it that would really hook, line, and sinker people? They'd be like, yeah, that's a good thing to say about yoga. I'm excited about that. And then balance it against like some hard news about yoga, or whichever way you want to go. Do you want to give the good news or bad news? Is there something that can be said where it's like, you can be misled by yoga in this sense, but it is legitimately good in this way? I'll let you answer.
I'll start with a classic example that no matter how much I talk about honey, unless someone takes a spoon and takes a bite of honey, will actually taste it. And it has happened several times in my yoga teaching career, is that the only thing I would tell people is to just come once, just come for a class. I invite you. You don't have to pay, just come once. And after the session, man, that's like embodied. Whatever I've said so far, it's embodied, and they feel it in their each and every cell of their being. And they're like, man, that was good. Then I don't need to say anything. They have experienced it from themselves. Because as long as we are just gaining perspectives, or trying to look for some kind of fireworks in the brain, then we will also associate truth or enlightenment as some kind of firework or some kind of magic ability.
Pleasure, and then, hedonism.
Exactly. Then we go into the loop. But since you asked, I would say that by moving your body in certain postures, you're using your body to get to know yourself. You're not using your body to get into the pose, but you're using the pose to get into your body. And through your body, you're trying to get into you. So you're not doing yoga to become fit or healthy. These are all fortunate side effects of yoga. But you're doing yoga to just come home to yourself and be with yourself. Because if you're just sitting and meditating and focusing on your breath, it might be hard in the beginning, but if you can just find a spot where you could move your body, just feel, you can do it fast, you can do it slow, you can do it like sweaty or very gentle, but then you move with something. And plus, our thousands of years of history has kind of made truth out of this body thing. As if the truth is not in this body, it's somewhere out there. But it is somewhere out there, and the body's out there too. Where else is your body? So someone said, I want to go high in spirituality. I'm like, do you realize the earth you're sitting on? It's pretty high already. You're already high.
Yeah, what's that quote? The problem with people, why they can't find God is they don't look low enough, or something like that. There's a quote that's something like that. Like, you look lower. or maybe look inward, look in a spot you didn't think it would be. You know, it's true. Why can't the physical experience of a body, whatever state it happens to even be in, be potent truth stuff?
The other reason for the other point behind this kind of physical practices and breath work involved in yoga is that it was relevant a few hundred years ago when the physical movement became more popular, but it has become even more relevant now because people are so distracted and so not in touch with themselves, and there is so much chaos and disorder everywhere. And moving your body makes your mind a little bit calmer. It lowers your heartbeat. And when your heartbeat lowers and your breath kind of synchronizes, your mind calms down because it receives a signal from your body that everything is all right. Yeah. And then you begin to, and if I ask you in those moments, just observe, just be a witness to what's happening. It's easier for you to do that rather than asking you to do that while you're stuck in traffic. So again, as I said, there are many things that could be said about it, but then one needs to just do it once and then see.
Yeah. I bought a book called Kriya Yoga Practice Secrets or something like that, and I started sampling it out and testing it like that. And then when I let the viewers on here know that I was doing that, I got a lot of comments saying you shouldn't do that on your own. It's dangerous or something like that. In your experience or your understanding of yoga, are there dangerous yogas?
Well, anything could be dangerous, you know. I mean, there is a scripture of yoga. It's called Patanjali Yoga Sutras. This is like the scripture of yoga, and Patanjali has said that there are mental modifications. The mind is like a whirlpool, like when you throw a stone, a pebble on the lake, and it has ripple effect. So the mind is always having these ripples, and it's always thinking in whirlpools. And he goes on describing that there are 5 kinds of ripples that you can classify into 5 kinds. Every ripple could be good for you, and every ripple could be not good for you. So of course, every kriya can work for you, every kriya cannot work for you. The thing is that without proper understanding, without sufficient guidance, there are some practices that could raise your energy level to a point where you don't know what to do with it, especially if you have not equated it with also rising your consciousness or rising your awareness. All these words are too cliched, but you have to somehow be that open to hold that much energy. Like they say about money, right? If suddenly you're given like $10 million, you'll be broke in 1 year. You wouldn't know what to do with it. You'll lose it, someone will steal it from
something.
Yeah. You will just go crazy. So you'll have to create that, you'll have to become that pot which can take that much in. So that's the risk. But I also think that people tend to keep things sound a bit too esoteric or too specific, like only a core circle can access it and all that. I think eventually it boils down to you, whatever that means, that you feel safe with it. In your heart of the hearts, you say, no, I think I'm going to try it. I'm going to be fine. You know, I've never had a guru in my life, because everything is a guru for me and everyone is a guru for me. From time to time, I've been to different teachers. I follow certain people and listen to them, but never from a standpoint of I'm lower, they're higher, or I'm higher, they're lower. I'm just curious like you guys, listening to perspectives. And I've been a rebellious kind in my own spiritual circles. And I've realized that now you need to get that conviction in you that even if everything fucks up, you're still gonna be fine. Can you get that conviction? Even if everything goes wrong, nothing goes wrong. Because how could anything go wrong? Because you have kind of let go of the concept of sadness, right? As you said. So then even if it's sadness, it's perfectly acceptable. I'm open to life as it comes, and I don't mind what happens. When this is not just intellectual, but like really felt, all your 40 trillion bacteria and 30 trillion cells feel it, then it's all right.
You're the ultimate Renaissance person, essentially. Because, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, please go ahead. No, please.
I was excited, and I'm excited by what you're saying, because I think that's so genius. You know, it was like forever ago that we would come on here and I would be like, can we enter into the age of everybody's the guru? And there are some people that will understand like the kind of danger in that. And there are people that I think would be like, you're a psycho narcissist. Like there's a hierarchy here for good reason. But I'm saying I resonate with what you're saying. I am kind of like, wouldn't it be a celebration to get to the point where you say like the universe is my guru? Like anyone could be my guru. And in fact, I'm not an inflated ego. I'm curious. I really want to be that painting. So in some sense, I'm kind of become a reflector. I'm going to reflect the world around me. And, all right, the world's graduated and I'm going to fit the role that you want me to have. Could be anything. One day I'm a beggar and the next day I'm a king. One day I'm the teacher and the next day I'm the student. Because I'm a Renaissance person. I'm multifaceted. I'm not like one rigid thing. The ultimate Messiah. Like, and I've started to. The person recently that I saw do this was Rupert Spira. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yeah, I know him very well.
There was something that really intrigued me and made me happy. Where there's a clip of him recently. It's a recent clip he uploaded, I think, and he's talking to one of his elderly students, or not elderly, but just an older student.
I think I've seen that one as well.
And she's kind of going through a mini heartbreak because he's saying like, I want to be your friend. You're ready for me to not be your teacher. And he's like kind of saying like the final disappointment is realizing you don't need a teacher. Like I've never been a teacher. I'm your friend here. You know what I mean? And I love that. I love the idea of the illusion being shattered and realizing we were playing a game here, but we're all the student and we're all the teacher or something like that. It sounds reckless, but I think at a certain point that sentiment starts to make sense a little bit, and it sounds like you've grasped it to some degree.
Yeah. And it boils down to if your self-image of yourself is that I'm the sinner, I'm the ignorant one.
Yeah.
What do I know? I need to learn from somebody. I'm born incomplete. I'm born full of flaws, and I need to rectify myself because look at me. I hurt this person. Look at me. I stepped on the whatever little bug, and look at me. I am just a person who hurts and la la la, and I have to purify myself. Like that's the approach. Why not just flip it? Flip the whole approach. That, hey, I am just one with everything, and one is not a mathematical number here. I'm just an indivisible whole, and sometimes my ego makes me forget it, and I just need to come back to my remembrance. That's all I need to do. Yeah, and the guilt, the feelings of not being enough, and all that. These are anomalies. How do you say that? These are like exceptions. The rule is that I'm always one with everything. And mine is just. It likes to have like cyclical pattern of anything. Whatever you say, it will believe it. It doesn't know good or bad. You are the one who's saying this is good, this is bad. So yes, we can all trick ourselves to believe that everything is fine, and then we'll create that world, because this world is created out of thoughts. Yeah, you thought of.
I search.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I search for evidence that the master is human. Like I'll be like, find me the controversies with this person, even if I like them, even if I think they're wise and genius. I like to know where they went a little crazy or where they had some kind of physical chronic thing to ground it and be like, yes, there's some people that have some experience and they have an ability to teach or guide in some way, but we are all as distinct from the whole, just a piece of it, and serving it's like assuming dirt is bad because it's below us or something like that. Yeah. Like you would be dead without dirt. Why don't you worship dirt? It's you know what I mean? And so in that way, I see I think that can be applied to how we regard people as lofty, or we get swept up in like a dream of something. Like, I'm not even saying don't become a disciple of somebody. Like, go and do that if you want. Go explore that and learn everything there is to do with it. But that's all I'll say about that, I suppose.
in terms of yogas, and I don't know how much you've experienced with different types, do you believe that there's like one ultimate yoga that people should be practicing, or that it doesn't really matter? There's a diversity of yogas out there that people can test out if they want?
Well, So the yoga philosophy comes from another philosophy. When we say philosophy, it's a clear seeing without the filter of mind. So it's not the mind in love with existence and trying to explore it in the Western sense, but philosophy from the Indian sense is it's a clear seeing, because the term in Sanskrit is darshan, and darshan means to see, just directly without any filter. So, well, the philosophy that yoga is a practical philosophy, a practical application of another philosophy called Sankhya philosophy. And the Sankhya philosophy says that there is, the first is there is energy and there is consciousness, and the interplay of the energy and consciousness creates this world. Yeah, this is the oversimplified version of that. And so why I'm saying is because if each and every individual, not just human being, but every single thing that appears like a thing to us, it's infinitely molded into energy and consciousness mix. So you look like you, and you have your own whims and caprices, and everybody has their own idiosyncrasies and all that. And then everybody could find what fits for them. And that's why yoga keeps on getting all these new kind of yogas keep on developing. And yes, for example, if you are someone who is fidgety and always too active and always loving to be like really on the heat, yes, you would be really, it will help you to really do some calming yoga, slow yoga, but you will rather go for Ashtanga and just push there as well. But the flip side will help. And if one begins to just check in with themselves as often as possible. How does this make me feel? For example, right in this very moment, how does this conversation make us feel? Are we still performing? Are we just moved into this brotherhood and we're just talking? And this kind of test, I'm entering a new place. How does it feel? How does it feel? How does it feel? Not to judge or classify those things, but only to understand yourself. Okay, this food feels good. I don't care if they're saying this food is bad for you. This food feels good for me. This person feels good to me. This kind of talks give me energy. 6 hours of sleep is enough for me. Like, I don't need to sleep for 8 hours, and I don't want to push myself and feel groggy the whole day. And you begin to, it takes time. The element of maturity has something to do with time as well. So with time, as you, psychological time, of course, everything is happening in the now. Maybe we'll move on to this kind of conversation as well. So I'm not contradicting myself, but then there is a way to explain things. And with the time, if you have really spent this time to always check in with yourself, you begin to realize that, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that, this is good for me. And when you're young, you're exploring, you're going like branching out, you're going all over, traveling, backpacking, the whole world you want to see, every culture you want to meet. But then as you start to really honestly observe all that, you again come back to being narrow. But this narrow is open to everything, but has found his favorite coffee shop. Now he doesn't need to try on all the coffee shop. He just goes to his coffee shop with his book in the morning and enjoys his coffee. And he's enjoying that bubble, knowing fully well that he's in a bubble. Yeah. So yeah. Yes, there are separate yogas could help different people. Yeah.
Yeah. I had this thing on my mind as you were speaking there about those things, about the notion of, you ever heard of the notion of loving your sin to death? Has that ever crossed your path?
In practice, yes, but I haven't heard of this phrase.
I'm like, I want to be careful with it because I don't want my loved ones doing that. But I've seen it reflected in my own life. I gotta be honest. The idea of loving your sin to death. Like, I found something I like, and I'm gonna do it till I'm completely done with it. You know what I mean? It's reckless. I would not give it as advice. I would not suggest people do that. But I've done a little bit of that. And the weird thing about it is, what's that?
Go ahead. There's always a little pleasure in all the things that are destructive and painful.
Right.
Side of us that enjoys it.
Right. Like, there's some discernment in there because, like, there are some things that are clearly just detrimental. And when you were talking about, like, I found these things that I liked. Like, I found when I eat this food, I'm happy. Or when I talk to these people, I'm happy. That's a kind of honesty. That's like a different, there's an element of honesty in that, because it's not somebody that's doing something self-destructive but denying that they're doing it. It's like, I'm doing this. But I think that if you're going to be honest in that regard, then you ought to be honest about every aspect of it. Like, when it starts to get worn out, like, this isn't serving me anymore. I got to be honest with myself that this sucks and I'm losing friends, and this is costing me, this is taxing me. If you're honest all the way through, if you have the capacity to be transparently honest with yourself and like aware of your body and aware of what your mind's doing, then there's something to the notion of loving your sin to death, because everything is like, what is sin? I'm not trying to categorize it as like something evil. It's like it's an attempt to live well, really. It's like an attempt to do what you think is the right thing to do, but it's not the completed picture. It's a learning process. It's every time you fumble while you're trying to learn the violin. If you're honest with yourself, you can go through those things quicker rather than a prolonged period of engaging in folly. This is what I'm kind of trying to point at.
It makes total sense. And well, I guess this is where some people, and the world is still full of gurus. That's why the gurus exist and disciples exist, because people can't really process what's happening, and they take it literally, especially learning from 30 seconds reel or shorts, or from just a photo with a text which says, hey, whatever it says, one phrase, and it changes your life. It doesn't give you any context. It gives you a very refined dopamine hit. You think, oh, I've just read something profound, but you
go share this.
You have no context for it. So yes, it can be very tricky. I would rather put it in a neutral way. I would say to have a calm acceptance towards the things that you try all your life changing, but you can't change. Let's say, I might sound a bit radical with that, but I've always contemplated like this since I know myself. So the thing with trying to improve ourselves, always trying to steer our life to that center, the balanced center that seems okay, how do we know that's okay? And for how long a period of time is that okay? In which context it will stop being okay? And you do everything with the rightest of intention, and everything goes well for you, then you have a switch in your brain that clicks, and everything changes. The point is not how much control you have, how many choices you have, and how much you can bring your life to path. The point is that when it does not go that way, who you are and how you act. Let's say you just cannot stop drinking. You must have followed Alan Watts at some point in your life.
Yeah.
And Alan Watts was a big drunkard. He was drinking.
By all accounts, yeah, he died like
he was drinking
alcoholic.
1.5 liters of rum every single day. He died an alcoholic. Now, someone who enjoys his philosophy, his way of talking, his way of presenting himself, and all the philosophy, might also say, "Hey, I dig it, I love it, and I love my whiskey." And drinks. The thing is that we don't know. We don't know when Alan Watts is aware that he's gonna die. He's aware that he's drinking, and we don't know his mindset. He doesn't talk about that. Maybe he was completely in calm acceptance of it. He's like, what a cosmic joke. I'm ready to disappear. But you are like, oh my God, I'm not sure I like his talk, but I sit like, oh my God, I should stop drinking. This conflict has to end.
Yeah.
The thing is that the illusion of choice, the illusion of control is such that the more it makes you believe in that, because you keep on succeeding. And there are so many things that you can do in your life that you will most probably succeed. Just start waking up in time, sleep well, don't use phone, drink enough water, eat well. You will see things improving, everything will improve. But then anything can happen. And you will not be able to sometimes control a particular aspect of you. Let's say you're just heavy smoker. And sometimes I have this one-on-one personal calls with people, and I had this call with a very sweet guy from, I don't remember, I think from Sweden, very sweet guy and family guy, and talking to me with so much earnestness and all that. But he smokes like 2 packs of cigarettes a day. And he's wise, he's philosophical, he's kind, he's gentle. I could feel his energy. We talked for an hour or so. And I tried to give him all the, the lower level advices, like, hey, try this, hey, try that, try this. Then I was like, you know what? Can I be honest with you? Like really honest, He said, yeah, please. I said, can you just accept it now? So what you die? So what it ends? So what you leave your children without a father? Man, anything. You guys could die in a car accident. Can you just stop? Because we have also struggled with such things in our lives. It could be anything. It could be a girl. It could be a book of porn. It could be anything in life, right?
Yeah.
The thing is that we create this separation between who I am and my habit. So I am the observer, observing my habit of smoking. My habit of smoking is undesirable and I want to remove it. And I create this distance between me and my habit. But when you see that you and your habit are one and the same thing, there is no difference between who I am and what my habit is. You can create that distance to somehow solve things in life. And that's what we do, right? We distance ourselves from things and people to understand them better. But if you go deeply, like clearly looking at it, there is no separation. There has never been one. So you realize that you need to just look into it. As you said, keep on being honest to the end. You realize that, hey, I am smoking. This is happening. I'm tired of this thing. I cannot end it. Can I just really be tired? And I think, and I feel, and in my experience, it is true. I cannot speak for everyone, but then when you look at resistance and when you can really look at it, the resistance drops itself. I did not say the smoking will drop itself. The resistance will drop itself. And then you will be calmly accepting what it is. And that's, I'm sure we will not get very positive comments on this, but definitely that's the point that you get to understand at some point that, hey, yes, you must try it out if you are like, 35 years old and you're just sitting in your room in the couch and you're eating shit and you're drinking Coke and you're binge watching Netflix. Of course, this philosophy is not for you. Of course, this philosophy is not for such people, but then there is an eventual point that, hey, there is a choiceless awareness, and we are choicelessly aware in the final analysis. And the only option, if there is any, is just to allow things to go as they are going. And change can also come with acceptance. We're not saying that if you accept yourself, you just continue doing what you're doing. You accept yourself and change the approach and calmly tackle the situation, rather than, I know how many people are always like using such strong language for themselves.
Yeah.
And there's like, you're such a fool, you're such an idiot, you did the same thing again. And we don't talk to anybody else like that anymore. In polite society, we don't talk like that. But we talk to ourselves like that. Could we just stop doing that to ourselves?
I love the idea of, like, have you ever heard of the term NPC? Like non-player character. People call people, and it's related to people that seem to be sort of ideologically possessed. Like there's no self-awareness. They're just saying statements that are politically, like, this is what you say in this situation. There's no real, there seems to be an appearance of the absence of critical thinking or something. But we're all NPCs. Every identity you can find is pretty NPC-like. And I love the idea. I know it's dangerous, and I respect I reverently want to address the idea of telling that guy that's been smoking for years, but the dialogue is, I'm smoking and I'm bad because I'm smoking and I'm bad because, being like, just have some radical acceptance. Accept doom. You're doomed. You're doomed, man. Now what? Now what if you're doomed? Because there's so many silly things. Like, oftentimes it's the silly whoopsie things that, like, take us out potentially, and all these different things. Some people seem to live forever even though they're smoking. Smoking is bad. Let's get that out of the way. So I'm anti-carcinogenizing yourself. But I'm not perfect. I certainly can't go around judging people because I've got my own bad habits and problems and stuff like that. But if you are honest, if you can get beyond the identity, the, like, taken for granted identity, like you said, bad speech about yourself. Why are you saying that? It's like, it used to irritate me when people would say, I have no artistic ability. I'm not an artist. I go, that's impossible. It's impossible to not be an artist. Can you write letters? Well, then just take that same thing that you do with letters and form it into an abstract image if you want. You know what I mean? But there's layers of conditioning and conditions put on what things are that can lock you into sometimes like a self-destructive path. Sometimes, if you've tried everything else, try acceptance. That might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. I tried everything. I've been in and out of rehab for years. I've been doing this on and off, and this cycle keeps repeating. What if you just really accept it? And the answer is you might die, and the answer is you might go, I don't want to do this. I don't want to die. I don't want to do this. And so I'm just going to stop it. It is radical. It's ridiculous. I would not expect them to teach that in a rehab center. I would not expect a therapist to teach that. But sometimes, what are you supposed to do if somebody's dying right before you and they're out of options. They're out of things. It's like, well, let's try accepting it. And who knows? Sometimes the brain, that's the thing the brain has been looking for the whole time. I can just accept it. All right, I'm free. I don't have to do it again. You know what I'm saying? I think we're kind of corroborating. I'm just taking it from a different sort of angle.
No,
I love what you said about that.
I totally get it. And the thing is that we're speaking, this is a public forum. We don't know if 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 people will watch it. So yes, there comes the responsibility when it's an open thing and anybody can listen to it, anybody can interpret it in their own way. And a lot of people will use knowledge and wisdom to justify their lives the way they are. Like one of the things that happens with just believing that I'm one with everything and I don't have a choice or control, and you can just keep on being the way you are, keep on hurting and harming other people and say, well, that's who I am. Like I am accepting that the brothers told me to just accept. So I'm
no.
we're not saying that. That's the point. We're not saying that. And I'm also I don't know. I'm done thinking of levels always. Like I'm tired of always, because I've had so many students of yoga and so many people will come to me and have, I will realize that, hey, I need to say a different thing to this person, right? So if you're having an interpersonal conversation, you gauge the context, you gauge the thing and you talk. But we're having a really abstract conversation. We're discussing ideas. You and I will die, but jealousy will remain. You and I will die, people will still smoke. You will quit smoking, I'll quit smoking, but someone else will be born and start smoking. So humans will come and go, but the emotions and thought currents will live on. And when we talk about them without embodying themselves to a particular human, that's for me abstract. And that's the first time I've come up with my own definition of abstract. So that's just abstract, and we're discussing, and that's why we need to make a disclaimer to people that we're having an abstract conversation. And if you want to take it like literally and apply it in your life, do it at your own risk, and don't say that we said it.
Yeah.
We're discussing ideas. Yeah, go ahead.
The interesting thing is, like, if we all lived in the same town together, and it was a particularly small town, and there was only like 10 of us in this town, and we were being honest, we wouldn't necessarily have to we might put a disclaimer and be like, hey, I don't know, I'm going to say something radical. 1 out of the 10 people might go and do something radical and hurt themselves.
Yeah.
Because we live in a day and age where so many people have an opportunity to express themselves through the internet, like so many people have channels, and we're among the people that do. We're expressing ourselves. It goes from a 10-person tribe to like a 50,000-person tribe. So 10 out of those people the odds just change, but it doesn't mean that. But like you said, people have the right to interpret things the way they're going to interpret it. It's like the only way to save me having an effect on the world, both positive and negative, is to disappear. You know what I mean? But the disclaimer is there. I just so we all feel safe, and I think we're on the same page. It's like, I'm not advocating any kind of bad health choice. Like, your body is your temple, man. You need this thing to get through your whole life. Try to live as healthy as possible.
I've said repeatedly on my channel, the day my channel hit 100,000 subscribers, I made a video about, like, I need to tell you this honestly. That was the title of the video, that I need to tell you something honestly at this mark, because now I'm like, man, there are 100,000 real people clicking on a subscribe button and they want to listen to me, and I just want to make sure that they know who they're talking to. And I tell them that, hey, I'm here to express myself. I have no idea if my talking is useful or useless, because I even question the notion of usefulness and uselessness.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And I'm just here to talk because I cannot help it, because that's how I feel. Like I've expressed myself, I've allowed the life energies to just remain kind of in a free flow, and I'm just expressing myself. And we are here enjoying the flavor of speaking about things such as these. And I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not your guide or mentor or guru. Yet I got many comments. No, you are my teacher. No,
Insisting.
And how much you try to shy away from this role, you still are a teacher. And I understand those comments as well. But from my part, I've made the disclaimer, because I want to go on, and I'm just warming up in this channel. I want to go on expressing myself as clearly as I can, because otherwise I don't feel fulfilled. I don't care if the video gets watched by how many people, but I do care if I've kind of, quieten myself, or I've kind of
Right.
numb it down or dumb it down. Yeah, so I want to avoid that.
It feels nice as a human to get one of the greatest things ever said, and it was like eons ago, is somebody was looking at some art I created and they said, I get it. I get you. That feels nice as a human. We do want to connect. We're human creatures and we like to connect with each other. So when you get a comment where someone displays that they get what you're saying, that feels nice. You know, you got to take it with the people that are like, you're a quack, you're crazy. You know what I mean? You got to take it with people that, don't want to say something like that, but instead kind of just, a vague, like, for you, it might be like, yeah, yoga's awesome. And you're like, but the lesson wasn't even about that. You know what I mean? You got to take all of it together, right? But part of the interest of expressing yourself is somebody resonating with it, or somebody being like, hey, I see that too. I see what you mean. You know what I mean? It's, I think that feels nice as a human being.
Yeah.
It does.
It's interesting talking about kind of like our platforms and stuff here. So it's kind of led me to kind of want to ask a question, springboarding off of this, what we're talking about here. In the age of modernization, your channel kind of focuses on a very classic traditional system like yoga and like the ideas of non-duality, Sanatana Dharma, Hinduism, that stuff. In this modern world that we're living in, how is it coming together? Because sometimes I think about like the technology that we have. We all have these little computers now on our phone, and I think about some of the lessons that we're learning using this technology. Is it possible that like this may transform or influence our spirituality in a way that is actually beneficial for us? Like, is it like there's some terms I use like techno spirituality or accelerated enlightenment? Is it possible that with the moving into an age of AI and all the things that are about to come upon us, that these may be things that actually help us to, as a collective, come to these understandings quicker, like where we may not even need some of the old traditional things that we have from our past? I don't know. I said a lot of stuff there. Maybe you could just, whatever speaks to you there, you could speak upon that.
A lot of time what happens is that people actually intellectually get things pretty quick nowadays. If I speak to a 19-year-old and I tell him or her some of my talks, they get it. And then you wonder what's the difference between me and this person in terms of knowledge and wisdom. And the difference is that they've gotten it intellectually, not totally, not emotionally, not in a cellular manner, not in a very deep sense of feeling and knowing, but just like a knowing, not just mental knowing. But they get it because they have access to so many books and so many resources, and they can just start from the age of 13 and just keep on reading about Vedanta and non-duality, and they come to a conclusion at the age of 19 that that's it, I'm enlightened. I've seen videos titled, "This is my experience from enlightenment." It could be nothing more bizarre than someone saying, I know.
Got enlightened this weekend. Like, it seems like I'm being mean, man. I've probably said shit like that on this show. Like, I've said some radical shit like, got enlightened this weekend. So I'm kidding around, but it's all right.
Well, I look at it from two perspectives. This saying, whatever comes to your mind sometimes, I look at it from two perspectives. One is that it feels good that you've just said it, because in the age of political correctness, there's so many things that can't be said, right? So sometimes when you let out a little bit here and there, you feel good. And two, it's good for your YouTube channel, it's good for my YouTube channel. If people dislike, it works for us. If people make a nasty comment, it works. The word is being spread.
Right. So, you caused a ripple.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win. Judgment it's impossible to not judge.
Yeah.
Right. Imagine if you're a judge at the court and someone says, please don't judge. Like, that's your job. You judge and you get paid for it. Right. And then we say, don't judge. Don't be nasty. Don't be mean. Don't be harmful, and don't be like vicious in your heart. But if you can make an intellectual, philosophical, rational argument about your point of view, go ahead, make that point of view. And if someone seeks explanation, but we are not in that place. it rarely happens that we can have such kind of dialogues, but I'm sure with the
Yeah, you're
advent of
right. If I'm lashing out a little nasty, that's like a little demon that crept up, like this little vitriolic judgment demon. You know what I mean? It's, um, I think everybody is in a way like sort of justified and valid, no matter what their thing is. Even if they literally are saying, "Hey, went to a retreat this week and got enlightened." Hashtag, enlightenment real quick.
well,
I actually don't want to like make someone feel sad by saying that or something. Like there's something to humility. Like I don't even want to lose the ability to be humbled or feel humiliation and stuff like that. Like there's people that I watch sometimes. I'm like, are they talking to me, man? They're really cutting me down to size. Like some of these, they're talking about me and pointing out some real things that are like effed up about me.
There is so many ways in which this ego reinforces itself, and one of the best clothing ego has is spiritual ego. And I've met so many people who have nothing to do with spirituality. Those are much connected, aligned human beings than the ones who are trying to align themselves because they come from a place of misalignment. I'm misaligned, I need to align myself. So yes, there is much more churning happening in spiritual circles than in the unconscious circles where they just go on living and making their bread. Yeah. So, but I just want to have a last kind of close this thing that you said about AI and if it can accelerate things. It definitely can, and I'm sure when it will stop. In the beginning, everybody's afraid right now how it's going to be and how it's going to be, and it will be at some point looking really bad, and then people will come. People like us will come and see through it and just change the whole perspective about it. Every age has a reason why we say things we say and why we talk the way we talk, how we change the anecdotes and examples. So I'm sure that because everything can be used, because is AI, I mean, now this might sound very wacky, but is AI not part of your God consciousness? Is AI also, is this technology not also coming within, appearing in the consciousness, existing in consciousness, disappearing in consciousness? Is it not another way God plays?
Right. It's that's why I was trying to liken us to NPCs. Like, you're a meat robot. You know what I mean? Like, we're exchanging data. Like, you could reduce some of the things we're saying. You could translate it into Morse code. Like, the concepts, the words, the symbolic, like, the language, the literal, like, language we're using could be refined down to, like, ones and zeros or dots. It's data transfer. But we take that as if there's, like, and so in this mystical, unified, sort of non-dual sense of reality, why isn't ChatGPT or whatever, some AI thing, just as valid as whatever bullshit you're spitting? You know what I mean? Like, blah, 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 like saying words at you. It's just saying words. What's behind all that? Can anyone claim ownership over the consciousness that kind of is the surface to which all things appear on top of? Can anyone be, I'm more real than everything else?
There can be no
who's even
comparison.
I'm saying I'm. You could train a robot to go, I'm the realist, and it would still just be words.
To put it in religious terms, God is speaking through each being who is speaking, and God is in this conversation, God is talking and God is listening. God is understanding and God is misunderstanding. If that can be our perspective, each and every localized appearance of this consciousness in this body mind, and can say, yes, I am the consciousness, but that I am cannot be comparative. My I am cannot be different. It's impersonal, but it's appearing in you. It's like you take a blank sheet of paper and you just make some dots on it, and you think dots are separate from the paper, but they are paper itself, and they appear within this white paper. In fact, without that white in the background, this black will in the space. You can't just make a black dot. You need a surface to put a black dot. So they kind of co-create each other and become apparent. So from that perspective, yes, every single being can say, yes, I am. But then you cannot say I am better than or worse than, or you cannot compare.
Because you're not there with all those other non-I am things, and which all come from the great mystery.
Either everything is or nothing is. It cannot be one has and other doesn't have.
With all the stuff that you talk about, what have you noticed as maybe a big misunderstanding that maybe you're trying to like bring some correction or at least try to steer in a certain direction?
The misunderstanding that I have experientially perceived something that I've been taught in non-dual circles for thousands and thousands of years. And this, which is the biggest misperception of all times, is me feeling separate from the rest, the sense of I versus the other. And I think all our good intentions towards becoming a better person, a better father, a better mother, and a better citizen, and to be healthier and wealthier and helping, and all kind of beautiful, beautiful things that we're trying to be. But we still attributing those things to I, the person, I, the separate person called Hitesh sitting in somewhere in Himalayas. If I keep on attributing that to the person, no matter how much I evolve, I don't, because I still remain a separate being trying to navigate this world. But and that's why it's called the direct, sometimes Rupert Spira says this word, the direct path. It doesn't call it progressive path. It's a direct path. It is that when you immediately get the sense from scientific or intellectual understanding, that because you can look at it from ecological perspective, from philosophy, from science in nowadays, and you can say, yes, we're all one and connected. There's no separation. But once you know it intellectually, don't abandon it. Then try to bring everything to it. Whatever happens, bring it back to it. Now you know it scientifically. But that doesn't happen. Ego likes to cling so bad. Every time you will think, I'm not ego, it's ego talking. I'm not ego. So you can never come and say that. That's why we made this little funny remark there, that you cannot claim, hey, I'm enlightened. No enlightened person ever said I'm enlightened.
We might just turn around and, hey, have you noticed it's been enlightened in here for like 20 minutes? What's going on? You're aware, I'm aware. Oh, wow. You know what I mean?
And it's not from humility that someone shouldn't say I'm enlightened.
Yeah.
It's from the complete honesty. No one can say I'm enlightened. How can you say I know? Okay, you could be quiet, silent, very quiet and silent, and I could feel it in you. If I'm also there, I could feel it in you that you know, and I know that you know. But the moment you say it, you use the mind that knows a language, all in dual perspective. Yeah, mind always in duality. Language always talks about objects and other. I see the tree, I walk the path. So you always create distinction. So when you say I know, actually the correct statement is no I, but I know. So the moment you say it, you make it human, and the truth is not human. What is the most necessary condition of truth? I think the most necessary condition of truth is that it's true, not that it's peaceful, not that it's peaceful, not that it's happy, not that it's enlightened. It has to be true. It might feel messy, but it's true.
Yeah. Are volcanoes true? Are supernovas true? Is animal tiger tackling a gazelle? Is that true? You know what I mean? Is loss true? Are any of these things true? What do we even mean by true at this point?
I mean, it reminds me of a conversation I was listening many years ago between Slavoj Zizek and Yuval Noah Harari. So one historian, one philosopher, both in very Western sense, not necessarily in spiritual sense. They're talking about what is nature, what is not. And they have like a more than an hour-long conversation where the boundary keeps on getting blurred. Is a man-made thing also not in nature, so it's natural? And then the point is not to define what's nature and what's not. But for a person like me, what I learned from these things is to say that, hey, the mind will get tired of its gymnastics. It will never make any sense of anything. You cannot make total, complete sense of anything using the mind. The mind will just go on in circles, and these kind of conversations can help us do that. Forever.
Conveyor belt.
And not only that, through pleasures, through all kind of sensual interaction that I had in my life, that I have in my life, when I've really went deep into it, good, bad, ugly, I felt like it was infinite. I mean, if you start enjoying having sex, no matter how good you had it last time, in those moments you felt like, man, it was infinite. I could just go on and on and on. Then you get into drinking, and you drink and you drink, and now you're vomiting, and you're like, if I did not vomit, I could have taken one more glass.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And you go on traveling. You're like, I've seen. I mean, I was looking back at my year and I realized that in 5 months I went to 7 countries. I was like, really? I went to 7 countries in 5 months? Like, what did I do? Why did I travel so much? And you just realize that, oh, I lost my thought. Anyway.
No, I love where you're going. You're pointing
Yeah.
out the infinity of any action
Yeah.
and the endless pursuit. And I think sometimes, you know, if you've gone out and done some things, you've failed upwards enough, or whatever the hell the thing is, you've seen what the reality of things are enough, you can get to a point where you're like, well, like, I'll say it like this, okay? We're kind of hedonically inclined, meaning like our body, we're habitual creatures. You know, if you drink coffee, you probably drink it every day. If you know, we're all on these phones, we're all doing things habitually. And then we kind of chase what feels good and we reject or deny or try to avoid what feels bad. And I'm going, yeah, I'm sick of that game. What if I could just sort of not, it didn't matter whether or not I was enjoying everything I was doing. I was just a willing participant in whatever is. You know what I mean? And who's the willing participant at this point? You know what I mean? Like, let's just make a computer that says, I'm enlightened. There we go. We got the computer. It'll say it for us. Forget it. You know what I mean? That's just language. That's just words. And so what I'm saying is the cycles of pursuing and needing to get the most out of things and extract something and it's a selfish pursuit, but there's a whole lot going on here that's not one thing. And I think the desire is to for this thing to be lived to the fullest, whatever that is. I think that's the care of truth, is like, whatever is the fullest manifestation of whatever the hell this thing is, and it can't be encapsulated in language alone. Like, it's just never going to be enough. It's like you said, it's a conveyor belt. If you sit there with your thoughts and you try to resolve things, you'll fall asleep. You'll be like, I can't, it's just never going to stop. You know what I mean? Yeah. But nevertheless, and I like the way you put it, how did you say it? You reversed it, not like I think there I am, but I am because I like.
Or we could say I am and I think. Not like I think, therefore I am. I am and I think.
You're right. You know what I mean? Like, getting to it, like the whole concept arises from something, some kind of mystery or something like that. A mystery to the ego, a mystery to the thing that likes to neatly delegate and distinguish things. It's a mystery to that, but nevertheless, it's being. And I think that you can just kind of get all that stuff out of the way and let being be. Yeah. I don't know. That was pretty crazy. You know, we went pretty far.
Yeah, we did.
Can anyone make something? Can anyone form something out of what I just said?
Well, I think what you're trying to say is that this endless pursuit of trying to think your way through life rather than just be the way. I mean, you cannot know who you are. You can only be. You can know. How do we know things? We know things as we create an externalization. We make an external object out of it, a mug. And then I say, I know the mug. That's an object in my consciousness. And I know it. And this is an object. This laptop is an object. You people there sitting are two objects I'm looking at. And that's how I'm knowing. I have to objectify everything in order to know it. Now you tell me, hey, know thyself. How do I use the same method to know myself? We do the same thing. When we turn within, we use the same tools and same methods to know. How we know alphabet, how we know philosophy, we try to know ourselves. But ourself is what is enabling the whole process of knowing. So how do we look at, if I'm the subject and this is the object, subject knows how to look at the object. It's very clear with the language. We know, hey, I walk the path, I go to school, I go to grocery store, I know what I'm doing. How do you say I know I? Because the moment you say I know I, you have made the second I as an object in your knowledge. You've separated, you've like polarized yourself and say, hey, I know me. And then you kind of like a part of you which does not smoke and which does not cuss, and you don't like the part that often does the other thing. And but the thing is that you again in that circle also you can get tired. And I think people who are slightly intellectually bent, slightly analytically bent, they should do this. They should try it out to see that there is no way you can ever know yourself. You can just be who you are. You can sense it that I am who I am, but I can't put it in any way. And I'll just say one more thing and then we move on from here, is that even this whole thing that is in Vedanta, in non-dual teaching, this is the biggest part of it, is that just go on being aware, because you're awareness. So just be aware, just be aware. But the thing is that and it has already been talked about and written, so I'm not saying anything new. When you say, I'm aware of my anger, for example, if you're aware of your anger, are you aware of the one who is aware of the anger? You'll say, well, if you put it like this, actually, I'm aware that I'm aware. Are you aware that you're aware that you're aware? Like, it's a little bit tricky, but I think I am. Right. Are you aware that you're aware that you're aware that you... Now, how far will you go? How far back? You will go, you'll regress ad infinitum. So we make pointers. That's why the pointers. For me, that's where being comes from. That's where God comes from. That's where consciousness, awareness, nirvana, kaivalya, enlightenment. These are words to stop the mind at some point and say, hey, it cannot go anywhere. It's infinite all over. It cannot go.
Yeah.
So
I love this is making me think of people that have had profound like psychedelic experiences or profound spiritual experiences from like maybe hardcore meditation or ascetic something, but mostly I'm talking about like DMT. And people that come back and they're like, you have no idea, man. Like, you have no idea. I was so God that I understood how the universe was created. I understood this. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to go to work on Monday. Like, you still got to go to fucking work on Monday. I don't want to dismiss it. There's something to that. Somebody that I'm not dismissing that you were God for a sec there, or you know some shit I don't know. But you do got to go to work on Monday. Like, you're still like, from my perspective, you're a human. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if you got abducted by aliens. You got to go to work on Monday. It doesn't matter what paradigm shattering thing happened. We end up together here again. We end up here where we all have different intellectual capacities. We all have different physical abilities. We all have different experiences, you know, and we come together. What the hell is the environment we're all coming together in? You know what I mean? And maybe you can peer through. And one of the things that is said sometimes, often when people have like what is it called? Like a spiritual, unbelievably deep spiritual thing, is that they're like, you can't talk about it. You almost can't even remember it. They're like, I remember remembering it, but my mind won't even let me remember it. It's like, well, okay, so that's God, but you're here as an ego again. Like, you did have to like click, 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 put an ego back together again to communicate this mystery to me. And that makes you a puzzle piece, like me, in this giant jigsaw puzzle.
I think the problem is, again, the thousands and thousands and the thousands of years of mental conditioning that we have gone through. And now I'm speaking about religions. Most religions, with their best intentions behind them, most of them have perpetuated this idea that somewhere something is better than this. This earthly life is what you are transiting. This is not your home. Your home is else. Why my home is not here as well? How can it be?
Yes.
All dimensions exist together in this dimension.
Yeah.
How can anywhere be better than this while this is not better? If this is either this is heaven or this is hell, but this is it. And anybody who is going anywhere is escaping. And maybe they have to escape right now. They have to go through this route, enjoy the journey, enjoy the dance. All that is fine. But where I'm looking at it right now in my life, I see that when you are in the now, in your totality of presence, right here, right now, there is no time and space. There is no past self and future self. There is just being, which has no property. It is a characterless, propertyless, feelingless. It's just a potentiality. You could make any out of it. You could say life is, and you could stop. Why do you have to say life is beautiful or life is a bitch? Life is. That's as much as it is, and then it becomes individual. Life is for Hitesh is different. For Justin is different. You know, like that. So I think,
Yes, I feel like I get you, man. I get it, and I like it. And I like it, and I resonate with it, and I really hope the people that are watching this are like nodding along and like it, and you know, I hope it's of some value to whoever's watching this.
People talk
You know?
about consciousness, like we've mentioned it a few times here, in different ways. What could you say about consciousness and your understanding of it?
Okay, all right. I don't know where to begin, actually.
It's a loaded question.
Yeah, it is. It is. And the thing is that the more a word is used, the harder it is to talk about it. Because again, we have so many ideas and notions floating around internet. And so this might sound like just another one. So that's the risk of how to put it in a way that it sounds like it can blend with every other idea and not become a new thing. Hey, look what I have to say about consciousness is better than the other. Like how most of the classical traditional Western philosophy works, right? A philosopher comes and says something, the other one's whole life work is to find flaw in the previous one, and then makes it, no, this is how it is. Then the next one comes and says, no, this is how it. And now in our times, we are seeing some who can see through all of them. So yeah, consciousness, again, is just a word. It's just the sound that we create from our brain, and it creates certain vibration in our head. And if we have a good feeling about it, it feels good. If we are confused about it, it feels confusing.
Yeah.
So let's see how the viewers will take it. But what is the most fundamental experience of life for any of us? So if I'm drinking water, this is a first principle. This is like the first thing that I become aware of. But what do I know about drinking water? As I keep on going on asking myself this, the only thing I will know is that I know that I'm drinking water. That's the most fundamental. I'm aware of this phenomena taking place right now, this phenomenon taking place right now. So I'm in pain, like I'm in physical pain, let's say. Okay, the pain is here, and sometimes it goes all over because it becomes psychological pain. And how will I move my arm? How will I do yoga and all that? And the pain becomes bigger. Then I say, no, 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 calm down. It's not everywhere. It's just in your shoulder, and it comes back to its shoulder. So, what is my most fundamental experience or relationship with this pain? Is that I know this sense of pain exists. Same with happiness, same with pleasure, same with success and failure. It's not that I succeed or I fail, it's that I know that I succeed and I fail. This knowing that precedes every experience. That is the most common denominator of every experience. That can never be taken away from experience. We are having this conversation, but we know, not from the knowing something from the mind, but we know deeply as a being that the conversation is happening. How it's happening, what's happening is a different thing. But so consciousness for me is this knowing, this deep inner knowing in which, in its presence, everything takes place. In its presence, everything arises. And in its own presence, it disappears. Anything that comes, like a wave and the ocean. The wave can go on thinking that I'm different, I'm big and I'm small and I'm wavy and curvaceous and beautiful and ferocious. But eventually it sees the shore and it's like, oh my God, I'm going to die now. I'm going to end. And it crashes with a loud cry. And what happens? Where does the wave go? Nowhere. It's still water is there. Not a single thing of the wave is lost. Only the idea that I'm a separate wave than the ocean. It was always water. It was always ocean. It's always that. For me, that's consciousness. Like when you make a pot and you think there's a space inside pot and there is space outside pot and there is like an indoor outdoor for us in the room, but that's just a perception. There's just one space and you just build a wall in between. There is no space within and space outside. And same is with us. We're not encapsulated in the skin. So from all these things, if you can see what I'm trying to say, is that consciousness is the substratum of every phenomenal experience.
I love it. And it's amazing that despite the fact that really when you get down to it, words would probably never suffice to like point out to this thing. Every now and then words seem to do something. Like I've heard people say the word oceanic before. I'm like, oh, that's got a thing to it. Or one time somebody said awareness becoming aware of awareness or something. Every now and then I'll be like, hey, yes or no, is something going on? Is something going on right now? There you go. Bingo, bango, we're enlightened. And it's why I love the idea of a computer essentially being like, I am a computer, but my essence is enlightenment. Like stating something to say like existence is happening. Therefore, bingo, enlightenment. As humans, we talk about this sort of thing and then we're almost saying to each other like, hey, you recognize that something's going on here? Yeah, I recognize we seem to be being. You know what I mean? but above that basic sense of awareness, that basic, like, something that I think often gets related to childhood. You know what I mean? Like when you're a child, before your head's like packed with concepts and memories and experiences that like pester you. When you're a child, it's pretty clear. It's pretty like, you know, you might even have kind of like a weird memory of having a different state of consciousness as a child. I feel like I was more present. I just walked around and I didn't label everything. You know, in the early stages of pursuing some of this stuff, I think there's something called labeling, where you go around and you label everything that you're seeing. And I'm going, well, try delabeling, try unlabeling everything you see, and then drop that process alone. And then, you know, there's like so many avenues people take to try to get to something that is essentially just, you know, like another thing I say is just don't go believing anything. I don't mean don't trust people. I don't mean like don't believe what you hear. I'm saying don't actively get lost in believing something, or do. But what is going on behind that? You know what I mean?
I think what you're saying is to always be in the state of awe and wonder and curiosity and learning. And not always, because if you put a stop to it, you kind of kill it. It's like you cannot put a stop to anything because everything is moving all the time. Knowledge, awareness, ocean, everything is moving, right? What you were saying reminded me of, because you're talking about children, and I have two nephews who are the whole day running around, and I get to observe them and of course see a flicker of my own childhood in them as well. But they're actually now 8 and 10, so they're not that small. But when you walk around and see like little children, they see a small puddle of water, and we will, as an adult, will avoid. Who will put the feet there and then wash the feet and all that? We know the fun, enjoy it, but I don't want.
If we're really screwed up, we'll be annoyed that water's there.
Exactly. But the kid will look, and then will jump there, maybe sit down and play with the finger. We do that. Now, when I had my first LSD experience, I was like looking at everything with the awe and wonder of a little child who has just like come out and like, always. And I'm like, that's it. This has taken me to a primordial state in which concepts and images and all that have kind of very shattered. And I had a friend of mine gave me a slice of lemon, a circular slice of orange or something, and it had dried in my house somewhere. It like completely dried. And he had also told me to, if you're at home and not outside, turn on as many lights as you can because you'll enjoy it. So luckily I had the house with all kind of spooky lights, a lot of lights there. And I picked this orange thingy against the light. Man, I saw the whole universe in it, right? And then I saw myself seeing that, and I was like, that's how the little kids are. That's how the little children are. One other time, I had an experience with changa, which is DMT mixed with some other plant. So the effect will not stop in 5-10 minutes, but will go on for half an hour. And then whenever I had any psychedelic experience, I always want to stay in the now and just see what happens. I never really pray or ask for anything. I don't need to ask for anything. But this friend of mine who was from South America, it was his culture, it was his thing. And he kept telling me, hey, just ask the goddess something, just ask the plant something, ask something. And I'm like, okay, if you insist, I'll try to ask something. And I thought, what do I want to know? So I asked the plant to just show me how it was when I was in my mother's womb. Because my feeling is that there is no ego there, there is no separation there, and there is no sense that I am in here, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know anything.
Yeah, you don't know anything. So I want to know that feeling again. And most of the times as a yogi, as a meditator, I'm so focused on being in this spot is that I'm trying to, we know all the psychedelics, if you focus here, the effect increases. So I'm just focusing there, like something will appear in I don't know, in this area or something. And suddenly, whoop, I didn't know it. I became that. I was in my mother's womb.
Oh,
and then, and the oneness that I felt and all that, amazing, right? And next day I go meet a friend of mine. I was in Berlin. I go meet a friend of mine and she had just delivered a baby like 2 weeks ago. And next morning I'm meeting her. So I'm telling her, hey, this is what I felt. And she's like, you're absolutely right. I think this is what my daughter feels.
Oh my God.
She is out of my womb. She feels the separation. And when the moment she comes close to me, she's like, I feel like God to my daughter. I feel like a God to my daughter, because I don't know if she said that, but maybe another mother said it. But that's how she described it, that definitely the chain is kind of broken and you've come here to play, so you just have to go out in the world and be separate and play a separate game. But definitely she was not suffering here. She was not having a hard time. She was really floating in space and getting all her nutrient and peeping and pooing, and nothing you have to think about. Everything is just happening.
That was a genius question for you to ask the substance. You know why? Because after you're out of the womb, you might have a neglectful parent. You might have a parent that doesn't take care of you. You're at the whims of the world once you're out. But everybody has been in a womb where you are completely innocent and being nourished and zero responsibility and literally like in in love, like essentially like nothing you can do about it. Whether the mother thinks she hates you or not, she loves you because she's creating you.
Any kind of drug, any kind of substance, no matter how holy or how beautiful it is, cannot take you all the way. It can only just show you the glimpse and then you reach there. I mean, the most classical thing to say is meditate, man. Just meditate, just be with yourself. If you can just sit with yourself, just be with yourself, you will solve every problem in the world. If you can just be with yourself. But that's because it's simple, it's not easy. And because it's not easy, people want to try something else that works. But it's actually very simple. You just have to sit and get bored to death or get overwhelmed to death and just be with yourself. You're not drinking or smoking or trying good things or bad things or yoga or whatever. You're just being and sitting and you're playing with whatever is coming, beautiful, ugly, and all that.
Yeah.
And that's the grinding but cleansing process. And you cannot put a timeline to it because you don't know when it happens.
Well, Hitesh, I want to say, thank you so much for joining us today on the show. This was fantastic. We had a great time sharing your insights. Maybe to close things out, you could maybe let our audience know what your overarching message is from your social media, from your YouTube channel, Echoes of Existence. And then after that, maybe let them know where they can find you, what you got going on, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I will just say the same thing that I've been saying for the last 1 hour with you guys, is that separateness is an illusion and you become what you believe and you're prone to believing things. So why not believe that you're happy? Why not believe and then make that your reality? And be always, remember your innocent childlike nature. You have been hardened by life, but you're still a child within. And keep that child alive and be curious and keep learning and don't be afraid to be a fool. In fact, be okay to be a fool and keep on learning. And that's it. Don't take it seriously. That's what I would say. I appear with this traditional look, I appear very serious, but fun, goofiness, not intellectual interactions, but the things that you can do with your friends that you can't even tell anybody because the kind of jokes you make or just something very, very, very absurd, no meaning, no sense, but you laugh your ass off. So if you can live like that and be goofy and be just, life will pass. And just don't take it too seriously, man. All this sounds, all this consciousness and awareness and oneness and all that. Don't take it like to your head and, oh my God, I have to become somebody. Just chill, enjoy. Just don't forget to enjoy this life. Don't forget that you're human, as he said. Don't forget that you're human. And just keep on playing the human game with as much grit and perseverance and all that you can. And if you're not done with me yet and you want to listen to me more, you're welcome to come to me on Echoes of Existence YouTube channel. And also Echoes of Existence is on my Substack where I'm writing. So if you just enjoy writing more, reading more, you can follow me there. And and thank you, Justin and James, that you invited me here and we had such a nice talk. Maybe we could definitely do it once again at any time when we feel like we can find more system to this, because I can sense that we're really free, spontaneous talkers and we can go all over. And I'm sure we have our own tribe that will really dig it and enjoy this conversation. And if you guys are going to enjoy it, don't forget to let us know in the comment section. All right.
Yeah. Awesome.
Beautiful.
Thank you for being a guest on the show. I like you, man. I like what you're about.